Well, isn't this very interesting to read about Jake Rosenberg? What's going on here then, lovey? Hey, what's going on here? Very, very cosy with Jake the Rake, isn't she? Oh, Jake the Peg. This is a fashion photographer out of New York, this Jakey boy. And actually, when I first saw the photographs of them together and the pictures, I assumed that she was fruit flying around one of her gays. Do you understand, my dear? I thought the young man might have been of a homosexual bent, part of her homosexual cortege. Do you understand, my dear? But apparently the boy is married with child, married to a gal called Jessica. And he loves capturing Meghan, or M as he calls her. He loves capturing her, loves spending time with M, and loves throwing praise upon M. And her eyes seem to sparkle with love mist and with love dew down his lens, don't they? Jake, nobody does it like you. Nobody snaps me like you. Of course, the boy's on her payroll. So that explains a lot of his affection, no doubt. But oh, Mr. Rosenberg, I'm ready for my close-up. Oh, Mr. Rosenberg, a face without freckles is like a night without stars. So come in the golden galaxy. I'm ready for my close-up, Mr. Rosenberg. Excited to share the new key art for With Love, he said all those weeks ago. You know, this kind of word salad that some in the creative industries come out with. Excited, excited. Prince William does it as well these days sometimes. Excited for this, excited for that. They're in a constant state of turgidity, aren't they, my dears? Or moistness. You know, it's all a bit too much for my sensibilities. It's the word salad. Now, before we progress, to be clear, I want to make it very apparent that there's no disparagement towards this guy. By all accounts, he's a lovely chap, so nothing against him whatsoever, my dear, simply doing his job. But I do pose the quiz. How exactly did the optics that this photograph imparts towards the public, how did it pass approval from little Todge? You know, it's little Todge that is the cock of the walk, and he's the man about the house, isn't he? He's coming across a little bit more like the cock of the walk. Don't you think, my dears? Aren't you getting that impression? That he's being cucked? Far be it from me to suggest that the Duchess is cuckolding her man using the likes of old cheesy nachos figueras. And now it's this Jake Rosenberg that's flavour of the month. Well, folk can't help but wonder who the Duchess's thoughts turn to in the middle of the night, my dear, in the marital chamber. We can't help it, can we, but ponder. You know, when the candle is blown out, the one that smells like Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina. You know the candle, my dear. She blows that out at night, and the Duke dons his conjugal role as sire of the Sussex clan. He is the sire who will sire his wife and satiate her desires. But whose name is she calling out during those moments? Who is she really thinking of? The cock of the walk or the cuck of the walk? And is she really thinking about Mount Batty Boy? Mount Battenberg cake? Or is it Rosenberg cake that she wouldn't mind a slice of, my dear? That's the question. Welcome to the broadcast, my dear old fruits, and a very happy Easter weekend to all of you. I hope you're wearing your bonnets. This is my effort at an Easter bonnet. I know it's not a traditional one, but it's all I could rustle up for you today, my dears. And we've got quite a bunty. We've got quite a bunty for you today. Some really juicy stuff, because Meghan's been cozying up, hasn't she, to a certain fella. And she's been receiving accusations of cruelty towards yet another member of staff that we've got to look at. And I've got to clear up the hysterectomy question again, because I did so several months ago, but the rumours are back in full force. So I must address them and clarify exactly what has gone on. Christ is risen. He is risen, but the Pope has dropped down dead. I'm sad to report, at the age of 88. So condolences, especially to those of you who follow the Catholic Church, of course. And I would also like to thank a handful of you, my basketeers, who sent a tip jar treat to me recently. I know some of you wanted me to put it towards an Easter egg and a little treat for Easter, which I haven't done yet because I haven't eaten any eggs at all this weekend. I didn't actually celebrate Easter yesterday, which is a first for me, but it was due to logistical problems. I saw family on the Saturday instead. And by the way, any tip jar treats that are coming in recently are being put towards technical equipment that I can use for the broadcast, including this laptop, which you told me you enjoyed me broadcasting from last time, and I can take with me around the kingdom to record on and show you some different scenes, and also another camera that is worn on the body so that I can walk about hands-free and show different scenes and places. You know, these are all things in the works that might potentially come to fruition that I'm thinking about and looking over. So all being invested, my dear, but I will probably treat myself to something from the John Lewis bargain bins because they do fabulous reductions on all the Easter goodies after the weekend. Do you understand, my dear? That's when you're best diving in there and getting all those treats, so we'll see what comes up. But before we get down to the mucky markle business, can we please start with the nice refreshing palate cleanser of royalty and royal Christian tradition for Holy Week. Easter service took place at St George's Chapel in Windsor, and the Yorks were in attendance. Andrew York, in fact, caused quite a stir by his attendance. Why shouldn't he be there? How dare anybody suggest that it's inappropriate for a human being to be seen in public? A human being who is also a member of a family and who has been publicly shunned without having any single criminal conviction. One has to pose the quiz. Would Jesus Christ turn his back on Andrew York? The Yorkies came together with the Princess Royal, the Edinburghs, the Maplemotzes, the Brooksbanks, the whole parade, my dear. It was quite the carnival. Little Jemmy Seven coming through and towering over the rest of them in his current guise as James Wessex. Most of the wardrobe was unremarkable this year. Of course, Catherine was missed greatly, and afterwards Her Majesty received spring blooms, and she greeted admirers before snuggling into the King's arms in the back seat. How cosy! The abiding message of Easter is that God so loved the world, the whole world, that he sent his Son to live among us, to show us how to love one another, and to lay down his own life for others in a love that proved stronger than death. There are three virtues that the world still needs: faith, hope, and love. And the greatest of these is love. It is with these timeless truths in my mind and my heart that I wish you all a blessed and peaceful Easter. Charles R. And so the Pope is dead at the age of 88 following infirmity and double pneumonia. He died this morning at 7:35 our time on Easter Monday. And only yesterday he had met with the Vice President of the United States, J.D. Vance, and addressed crowds from the balcony at St. Peter's Square. So there he was. But the Argentinian pontiff is now dead, and he was the first pope from the Americas. He was born Jorge Mario in 1936, taking the name Francis in honour of St. Francis of Assisi and as a nod to St. Francis Xavier. He was elected Pope by cardinals in 2013, and the next pontiff, who in theory could be chosen from any baptised Catholic male from the pool of the world's 1.2 billion Catholics, is likely going to be from around 8 candidates, with one eventually drawn from the cardinals, who are going to gather in the Sistine Chapel in the Vatican for the secret papal election known as the Conclave. And the other thing we've got to discuss is huge knickers. I'm sorry, my dear, Hugo Vickers. Hugo Vickers lost his knickers. Well, he spoke exclusively with The Sun about Meghan's true colours. What? No, Oprah, my dear, there's no need to jump out of your chair. What? We're not talking about her colour, so don't get your knickers in a twist. We're not talking about her colour or the alabaster tones of the Sussex children. We're talking about the colours, the true colours of her personality that are shining through like a rainbow or a rainstorm, more like it. He refers to a piece in the Times last September by Tom Sykes, where an unnamed source told us, "I witnessed people being chewed up in person and over the phone and made to feel like shit." And another source who said, "She is lovely when it's all going her way, but a demon when the worm turns." And Hugo Vickers says, I'm afraid I'm not surprised by these allegations because even when she was at Windsor, I remember hearing from very good sources that there was trouble. And this was the interesting bit. There was a time when she was very rude to one of the under gardeners at Windsor when they were at Frogmore Cottage. The head gardener went to complain to the Queen and she told Meghan off because she obviously didn't like people being rude to staff. So that is a head gardener from Frogmore. A head gardener added to the long list, the never-ending, infinite list of Sussex survivors. During Holy Week, their Majesties attended the annual Maundy service at Durham Cathedral, during which His Majesty distributed royal Maundy money. The recipients reflect the age of the monarch, 76 men and 76 women. 76 trombones in the big parade. Oh, I'm getting carried away. Yes, 76 men and 76 women with 2 purses, one red and one white, containing Maundy money. The white purse contains a set of specially minted silver Maundy coins, and this year the red purse contains a £5 coin commemorating the Queen Mother and a 50p coin featuring stories of World War II. Royal Maundy is traced back to the 13th century, with the first recorded royal distribution at Knaresborough by King John in 1210. A question from Tabitha, who says, Dear River, I saw an interview with Samantha Markle, who said she believes her brother is telling the truth about Trevor saying Meghan had a hysterectomy. I trust you will bring some critical thinking to this issue. Wishing you a happy Easter weekend. Tabitha. Well, I deconstructed all of this half a year ago, when the comments were made by Thomas Markle Jr. surrounding the hysterectomy in one of his live feeds. I covered it then, my dear, but I'm going to have to bring my critical thinking to the issue again because it seems that not many other people are doing so. And I will have to go through the fundamentals again to illustrate how misinformation develops. Because there's no fun in the rumours and gossip and conjecture when they just evolve into complete and utter daft sophistry and word soup. So we're going to begin with what Samantha Markle said recently when she was asked about the alleged hysterectomy and if she believes it's true. She said,
I do believe now that my brother is telling the truth and that Trevor is, and reportedly Trevor said that she couldn't give him children. And this is according to my brother. I didn't get this from Trevor.
Well, in actual fact, Thomas Markle Jr. didn't get it from Trevor either. If you listen to the words that he says in the live feed, Trevor's never spoken one-on-one to him about this matter or to anybody else.
All I can say about that is Trevor, her ex-husband, confirmed that she had a hysterectomy. So about giving birth, I have no idea. Maybe it was before, maybe, I don't know. But Trevor said she had a hysterectomy, therefore, because it was a problem in their relationship and he wanted children.
Thomas Markle Jr. only cited online rumours specifically. He just said, Google it, look it up. You'll see that Trevor, you'll see an article where Trevor states that Meghan had a hysterectomy and can't give birth to children.
It's out there. Google it. Everything is out there on Google. Everything. Trevor put an article out there that Meghan had a hysterectomy and couldn't have children. And that was a big issue in their relationship. So
no such article exists. And no, it hasn't been scrubbed from the internet. It never existed. And I've got to tell you, as I told you before, that no such article would ever exist because Trevor Engelson is a gentleman and wouldn't be so vulgar as to take that sort of information to any sort of online outlet or speak out in such a way. No, that's for one thing, which Samantha Markle should know. What Thomas Markle Jr. said was that Trevor confirmed that Meghan had a hysterectomy, therefore, because it was a problem in their relationship and he wanted children. It's out there. Google it. Trevor put an article out there. As I say, no article exists. It seems, and I can only guess, that Thomas Markle has heard online rumours, the stupid, daft ones that proliferate everywhere from vicious, malicious gossip websites and rumour mills out of absolute thin air. Oh, Trevor said this in an article. Trevor said, and divulged all their information when no such things happened. It seems that he has been sipping on this sophistry soup. That's all I can guess, because no such article exists, that's for sure. So what exactly is Thomas Markle Jr. playing at by saying this? Your guess is as good as mine, my dear. Perhaps it's part of his dark sense of humour. Perhaps he has a genuine belief in what is obviously very shady online fabrication, or just poor judgment. But folk wonder why Meghan wants nothing to do with him and Samantha and the family.
That says a lot to the fake royal kids right now, because obviously they couldn't have come out of her.
And I will never understand why they wonder, because I would drop them all like a ton of bricks as well for pouring fuel on those type of fires, you know?
And sources out there say that Trevor put this in an article or an interview, so I haven't seen that yet.
I have to say it is absolutely beyond me why either of them would indulge an obviously false rumour. Why can't both of them, but especially Samantha Markle, to be honest with you, just say that there is an online rumour that we've seen no evidence of, no source material at all, and we haven't spoken to Trevor for years and years and years, and certainly not about this? Why can't they just say that? Why can't Samantha just say that, instead of entertaining the whole affair and the whole rumour, with Thomas Markle Jr. going on to suggest that her babies have to be fake because she had this hysterectomy? Do you understand? It lacks any credibility whatsoever. And for somebody who prides herself on critical thinking and degrees in this and education and in that, then the research she's done on this matter, which she knows that she'll be asked about, and I'm sure she's been asked about it before, appears to be Charlie work. Because the disappointing thing is that thousands upon thousands of lunatics lap it all up, and it is embarrassing. It is just absolutely embarrassing, especially when Samantha Markle talks about how one whisper spreads like wildfire and a lie is then received as a fact. She actually goes on to talk about that sort of thing in the same interview. And they're doing it themselves. They do it themselves, and they do themselves a great disservice in the doing of it. So if you wish to believe she had a hysterectomy, that's your right. But none of her family are privy to any such information, and Trevor Engelson has never revealed any such information. If the tooth fairy has whispered in your little shell like that she has a hysterectomy and that she was having pregnancies 18 years ago and all this absolute tosh that some of you, a very, very, very small minority, but vocal minority of you come out with, well, good for you, my dear. You can ask the tooth fairy to do an interview and enlighten us all, can't you? On behalf of the King, our golden trophy, Duchess Sophie, attended the Sovereign's parade at the Royal Military Academy, Sandhurst. The event marks the completion of 44 weeks of intensive training for the 239 officer cadets, who will be commissioned as British Army officers. The parade featured 26 international cadets from 18 countries. This year's parade made history, with an all-female banner party participating for the first time. I shall leave you all with a reading of the King's message of condolence in regards to the late Pope, and I wish you all a very happy Easter season now that it's drawing to a close, and a splendid week ahead. Make it royal, my dear. Channel the royal spirit. And a million squadges to any of you who are kind enough to send a little Easter tip jar treat my way. It's sincerely appreciated. Take care, my dears, and toodle pip. My wife and I were most deeply saddened to learn of the death of Pope Francis. Our heavy hearts have been somewhat eased, however, to know that His Holiness was able to share an Easter greeting with the Church and the world he served with such devotion throughout his life and ministry. His Holiness will be remembered for his compassion, his concern for the unity of the Church, and for his tireless commitment to the common causes of all people of faith and to those of goodwill who work for the benefit of others. His belief that care for creation is an existential expression of faith in God resounded with so many across the world. Through his work and care for both people and planet, he profoundly touched the lives of so many. The Queen and I remember with particular affection our meetings with His Holiness over the years, and we were greatly moved to have been able to visit him earlier in the month. We send our most heartfelt condolences and profound sympathy to the Church he served with such resolve, and to the countless people around the world who, inspired by his life, will be mourning the devastating loss of this faithful follower of Jesus Christ. King Charles.